Finally, we have clarification by the Home Office on the success criteria when you come to apply for indefinite leave to remain as an innovator founder. Now, I've had a number of applications go through now for ILR for my innovator clients who I've worked with over the years. Some of them applied at the very beginning of the timeline when the first innovator visa was first announced. So let's check it out together. Now, it says under research and development, some very important examples. So it says, when considering this success option, it's important that both parts of the provision are met, i.e. that significant research has gone into intellectual property protection. So I've been saying this for years now, that there's two elements of this and they should be treated distinctly. So you've got to have significant R&D on the one hand, and then that's got to go into the application for IP. So it says, for this reason, you should not consider IP types that have not demonstrated the significant research and development component. So there's been a lot of misinformation going around about this. So let's just have a look at the examples. Not acceptable, filing for a trademark on branding. And I've had many people come to me asking me this question again over the years now, the last 3 years. And I've said consistently that this is not acceptable. Filing for a trademark on branding is not acceptable. So if you're in that position, then you've got to quickly pivot if you're already on the innovator visa and you're coming up to an ILR application. Let's continue. So acceptable, filing a patent for a new battery technology with evidence of verified and demonstrated new developments advancing the underpinning science in this field. Okay, so that's a very compelling example there. Some of my clients have filed patents, not all of them. Then it says, not acceptable, registering for IP protection for a shoe design where development is purely artistic. There was no significant research and development activity associated. It should be noted that purely customer research surveying on styling will not be sufficient to meet the bar. Yeah, so I mean, query where the innovation would be in that anyway for like shoe designs. But yeah, that's kind of self-evidently not acceptable. Acceptable, registering a design patent for a shoe where the design incorporates advances in ergonomic performance supported by scientific trials, such as peer-reviewed controlled trials. Now that puts the bar very high indeed. Query how many innovator applicants have undertaken necessarily scientific trials. But research and development in the context of software can often look very different than it does for R&D for physical products. Many innovators do not necessarily have a physical product and all of the kind of hassle and additional overheads that comes with that. So let's just continue. Non-patentable IP. It says some new developments cannot be patented in case where a new product or service has been developed through genuine and credible research and development by the applicant's business. An endorsing body can consider the R&D criteria to be met if they can show significant R&D has been delivered within the creation of the relied upon development, for example, lab research followed by controlled trials. Next, there is evidence of credible peer-reviewed research outputs evidenced in credible peer-reviewed academic or industry journals. So that bar there is very high indeed. Goes on to say, examples, acceptable. A company has a new testing technology for early stage diagnosis of cancer and intends to sell testing kits to public and private healthcare providers. They can show that they were the first to publish on the new technology in a prestigious medical journal. And it's been verified that there was sustained lab research and testing to develop the product. Not acceptable. A company has created a new manual for the provision of a sports recovery training program. Whilst the manual brings together a number of different sports science practices under a new brand identity with a manual that's been copyrighted, it does not in itself involve the development of significant new primary research or advances in any underlying science. Research is limited to secondary research by way of literature review and merger of techniques that they've learned by attending a couple of professional courses. Beyond the copyright, there is no wider intellectual property associated with the business. So that's dealing with a copyright example. And again, I've said for a number of years now, copyright is not sufficient. So I think this, corrects a lot of the misconceptions that I've been trying to correct over recent months and years. I think it's helpful that finally there is some guidance on this point. The bar is set very high, but the examples here are to do with physical products. Most people will not have physical products on the innovator visa, in my experience, with the explosion of digital tech products. If you do want some help with the ILR application, or you're considering any of these areas, feel free to get in touch. As I say, I've got a number of successful applications through now and have had a lot of success with that. It's best if I speak to you early, though, into the visa term rather than like at the 11th hour. You can get me on my consultation service. Link is just below. Thanks and bye for now.